Hi, I'm RAV4 Prime Brian.
And I'm IONIQ 5 Brian.
Welcome to Everyday Reviews. Let's go. If you've been following Everyday Reviews for quite a while, you'll know that we really liked the RAV4 Prime. And actually, before we bought the IONIQ 5, we were going to buy a Prime. Don't mind the dirty car, the hoses are still frozen, the car washes are closed right now. So why did we choose the IONIQ 5 over the RAV4 Prime? The answer is very simple. This is the one that became available first. So today we're gonna do a little fun comparison between the two to see, after a couple of years driving this, if we still believe in our decision. Both vehicles featured today are the top trim. This is the Prime XSE with the technology package. It gets the upgraded 19-inch wheels. On the IONIQ 5 side, that is the long-range preferred all-wheel drive with the ultimate or limited package, depending what side of the border you're on. And that gets the upgraded 20-inch wheels. Here's something quite interesting, and I didn't even realize it until I was backing this into the garage, is that the RAV4 is actually smaller than the IONIQ 5. It's 1.5 inches shorter, but when you have a tight spot like our garage, it is noticeable on the front and the back, just that little bit. It makes it easier to park. The wheelbase is 12 inches shorter on here, so quite a bit smaller. And I was really surprised because this vehicle kind of looks bigger. It is taller though, but the IONIQ 5 is longer and wider. I do like the flush door handles and the auto unlock feature. When you walk up to the vehicle, they pop out. This also has power folding mirrors. Now, once opened up, you'll see the RAV4 has a larger opening. It's definitely more conventional SUV-like. Cargo area actually has 189 liters more capacity than the IONIQ 5. Lift up the floor bottom and you do get a spare tire right there. It's a temporary spare tire. That's pretty decent. Also, 1500 watt inverter with a 12 volt plug as well. Okay, you got me there. The IONIQ 5 does not have a spare tire. You get a tire and mobility kit, so that may be disappointing to some. But it does have vehicle to load, V2L, so we have an inverter built in on this vehicle, 1900 watts. So that's 400 more than yours. And the bonus of that is some of the appliances like blenders or blow dryers are a little bit more than 1500, and this is going to handle it. Also, since this is a full battery electric vehicle, you could use this as a full generator to power your house. For instance, in a power outage, you know, put it into your, plug your freezer and your fridge into it, things like that, and you can do it safely inside your garage because there's no fumes. Both vehicles are equipped with hands-free power liftgates. This is the smart trunk. And up it comes as long as you have the key fob in your pocket. On the RAV4 though, it is the kick version, so a little kick there, up it comes. Personally, I actually prefer the kick on the RAV4 because it's just quicker than waiting around for that one. Plus, this one you still actually have to manually close it. That one you can just kick. The interior of this XSE with a technology package is really loaded to the brim. We have, first of all, the seats. They are synthetic leather. They are heated and ventilated for the front, heated in the rear even. You have a heated steering wheel, but be aware, it's not heated on the top and the bottom. If you've watched some of my other Toyota reviews, and when we had our Highlander, we had that complaint, but some of the new Toyotas coming out are fully heated now. It's not a big thing, but you do notice it. A very comprehensive head-up display, an upgraded JBL sound system, which I gotta say sounds quite a bit better than the Bose system in the IONIQ 5. We have a upgraded panoramic roof here, and it actually opens. An upgraded 10.5-inch display in the center for this tech package that has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Another thing, this has the bird's eye view 360 camera, and it has a very unique feature. When you put it in reverse, it records basically what it's basically seen. So you can actually see through it, superimposes the image So you can see under the car. It's pretty wild. I'll show you that here. We have a 12.3-inch driver's display, lots of room in cubbies. We have a shelf in front of the passenger, pretty big door pockets, auto up-down windows on all windows here, and the rear windows do go all the way down. We also get a digital rear view mirror, so if you have a lot of people or items blocking your rear view, no problem there, just turn that on. In the back, ample room for the rear passengers. Be aware, there is a hump in the middle though. Yeah, well, there's lots of wins in the inside of the IONIQ 5 as well. There is a head-up display, but not just a normal one, it's an augmented reality one. And that's even actually a very unique system for Hyundai in general in their entire lineup. I have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, of course, dual 12.3-inch screens. It is not wireless, but the new version of the IONIQ 5 coming out will be wireless. I have a 360 camera as well. A digital rear view mirror. I don't have it, but it is available in the US market. It's not available in the Canadian market though. I do think the screens are sharper on the IONIQ 5. Occupant space is very generous on the IONIQ 5. It has more room for occupants than the RAV4 Prime, other than the rear headroom is a little bit shorter on this than the RAV4 Prime. But yeah, overall it's a huge win. So let's drive. The RAV4 Prime has a very, very robust powertrain system, and one of the reasons why is because it is built off of the tried and true Toyota hybrid system that has hundreds of millions of miles of testing on it worldwide over the last couple of decades. So you have that hybrid system. It's a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine, but you match that with now 2 electric motors, quite powerful electric motors, and you get 302 combined horsepower, ton of horsepower. And the beauty of it is you can have it in EV mode that we're in right now, and it drives just like an electric car. It's beautiful. So that's going through an eCVT transmission. We have all-wheel drive, and since it's an electric motor in the back, there is no drive line. It isn't engine speed dependent, so the reaction times are very, very quick. When it needs extra traction in the back, regardless of your engine RPM, it can just do it in a snap and just give you maximum torque, which is really going to help out in handling as well as in adverse weather conditions. Now, I think this is the king of the PHEVs in the mainstream market if you don't need 3 rows, for instance. And one of the reasons why is how well this can operate as an EV. Other vehicles and other hybrid, plug-in hybrid systems, they're great, but a lot of times that gasoline engine is kicking on when you're doing short trips, and it's really affecting your overall fuel efficiency when that gasoline engine kicks on. This one has an 18.1 kilowatt hour lithium battery, and you get a range of 67 kilometers, or that's 42 miles. That's what it's rated for, but I know from previous testing and other people that actually own this vehicle that I've talked to, they can often get a lot more than that, up to 90 kilometers of one guy that I was talking to. Mind you, he's actually trying. I'm not in eco mode or anything. I just drive regularly, and what you see is kind of what you get, which is great. We're on the freeway right now, and we're doing 110 kilometers an hour. So we're actually going a little bit over the speed limit, no issue at all, and it's not even coming close to wanting to go back into the gasoline engine. And I could do this for the entire time until this battery runs out. Another thing that's going to help this keep it in EV when it's not too cold is this has a heat pump, which is more efficient depending on the temperature, and it saves a little bit of electricity. And the best thing about it is once that battery is depleted, it still operates like a regular RAV4 hybrid. It just still sips fuel. All right, we're not really comparing apples to apples here because the Prime is a plug-in hybrid. You have a gasoline engine as well as an electrical system, but that system is not as large as the IONIQ 5s, which is a full battery electric vehicle. We have 2 electric motors putting out 320 horsepower, which is more horsepower than the RAV4 Prime, but where the biggest difference comes in is the 446 pound-feet of torque, which is instant torque, instant. So it just lets you communicate with the car so much quicker. It's like having a really fast computer compared to one that's, you know, a couple years old, and it's extremely noticeable. Range-wise on this one, just under 420 kilometers. This is the all-wheel drive long range, which is really decent. We've had no problem with range, and the best thing though is the charging speeds. You can charge up to 350 kilowatts. If you find the charger that quick and all the stars line up and you know your preconditioned batteries warm, everything, you can charge just 10 to 80% in minutes, literally like 15-20 minutes. That's how quick you can charge this, and that really is class leading for sure. Okay, the RAV4 Prime doesn't charge that fast. It doesn't have level 3 charging, but it does have 6.6 kilowatt charging, which is very, very quick. If you want to compare that, for instance, to the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV that we recently tested and had a long term of, that one only charges at 3.3 kilowatts, so half the time, and took almost like 6 hours to top that up. This one takes about 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's pretty quick. You could just plug this in, run in and do some things, and come back out and you're already charged already, depending on how low it was. So pretty decent charging. If you want to just plug it in with the included 110 charger, it's going to take you 12 hours to charge that. Now, there are a couple other notables I want to mention about this RAV4 Prime compared to the IONIQ 5. First off, since it does have a shorter wheelbase, it has a tighter turning circle. So you could do a U-turn in almost 2 feet less of space. And that's a bonus as well. The RAV4 Prime doesn't have as big of a battery as the IONIQ 5, so it is about 400 pounds lighter. Lighter is always good for efficiency. Also, the RAV4 Prime has a 2,500 pound max towing capacity, which is 200 pounds more than the IONIQ 5. And one big win, we have a rear wiper. Yes. Yeah, you know what? You should almost get an extra win for having a rear wiper. I don't know why this one didn't come with one, but the newer versions will have a rear wiper. Not the 2024s, but the 2025s. We drove the IONIQ 5N, which is the newer version, and it does have a rear wiper. So there will be one coming, but for now, RAV4 Prime gets a win on that. I really wish there was a rear wiper. The window's just so dirty. Now for pricing, it should almost be a tie because both these vehicles, the XSE with the tech package, Prime here, and the IONIQ 5 preferred all-wheel drive with the ultimate or limited package are just about $62,000 Canadian. But they both qualify for EV rebates here in Canada, and depending on which province or what state, make sure you check, you may get additional rebates as well. But we're just going to use British Columbia as an example. For PHEVs, if you have a full EV range of less than 85 kilometers, you're eligible for up to $2,000 off. Over 85 kilometers of EV range, which the IONIQ 5 does, get $4,000. So total, you can get $7,000 off here and $9,000 off on the IONIQ 5. So that is going to take the win there. But then you have to add in the extra fuel savings that you're going to get with the IONIQ 5. Sure, this will sip fuel, and but even if you're using it mainly in EV, eventually you will have to put some fuel in it. So yeah, the win goes to the IONIQ 5. So at the end of the day, you can see it's actually fairly close, and it really is going to depend on what your needs are. Both these vehicles suit our needs. If a RAV4 Prime was available now and we didn't have our IONIQ 5, we would actually jump at it once again because it ticks all the boxes. I think it is a great vehicle and definitely one of my favorite mainstream PHEVs out there, hands down. If you don't have access to home charging, it's possible to do public charging, but it's not the most convenient thing. And yeah, if that's your case, then get a Prime because there is no compromise at all. Guess what? You can drive it as an electric car, drive it as a hybrid, drive it as a gas vehicle, go on long trips with zero range anxiety at all. Yeah, and you're still going to sip fuel most of the time in regular hybrid mode. So yeah, if that is what appeals to you, go for the Prime. If you have charging ability and you like the electric vehicle experience, which this is electric vehicle, but once again, for the full battery electric vehicle, you do have more power for just all electric and you have more torque. And you know, when you drive one of these PHEVs, I'm telling you, you almost want to play your own internal game and always want to stay in EV, which is pretty cool because yeah, we are still an EV. We've been driving for a long, long time. And another thing with the Prime, even if you have a house, you don't necessarily have to install a level 2 charger, which is going to save more money for you, more money in your pocket. There is one problem that both these vehicles face, and that is, can you get one? When this vehicle came out in 2021, for instance, it was pretty well impossible to get one. Things have changed a little bit. For instance, Toyota Canada has said that they sold 4 times the number of RAV4 Primes in Canada last year than they did the previous year. 4 times. So yeah, it is improving. IONIQ 5s, once again, wait lists are getting shorter. You're seeing more and more for sale now, so that's also a bonus. I have a couple of friends that own Primes, and one of them actually got one last year and only waited like less than 2 months. But the secret, he said, is he didn't order the top trim, the XSE with the tech that we have here. And that may be the secret. Meanwhile, I have another friend that has had one on order now for over 1,000 days. And she just wants the XSE with the tech in a particular color. And that is a long time. That is a really, really long time. So yeah, those are just tips that I've just gotten, you know, from my friends. If you have any tips of how you can get either of these vehicles a little bit quicker, leave a comment below and maybe you can help someone out that's interested in getting one of these vehicles. But yeah, that's our little fun comparison review of the Prime and the IONIQ 5. And yeah, I don't think that I could go wrong with either vehicle. Once again, we got the IONIQ 5 because that one was the one that came first. We're very happy with it, but we'd be equally happy with this one. That's it for today's review. Thank you, IONIQ 5 Brian, for the help that you've provided, and we hope to see you on the next video. Ciao.